Hi, so I'm going to be taking a look at just under 3 months worth of 2000 ADs. I was going to do Just Dread magazine as well, but they're chunky boys. I've read one and a half of them, but I've still got two and a half to do. So I'll do a separate video most likely next week for these because there's a lot to get through. There's over 500 pages in between all of them, so it's a lot to read. So I'll just focus on these today. I'm not going to go issue by issue. I'm going to go through story by story. But what I'm going to do first, because 2000, it's always a delight when I get 2000 AD each week. I still get that Wednesday buzz what I've had since I was a kid buying 2000 AD. The covers, they never let you down with the covers. So I'm going to do like, I don't. If you're in the UK, you remember if you're of a certain age, like mine, really old. Seems like Heartbeat, which was by Tony Hart, and they had like the gallery. So this is the gallery of the covers. Cue Tony Hart music, which I've not got. So yeah, they're just a delight to look at, and then we'll go dive into the stories. Like I said, these are good because I'm showing it from a launch of a whole range of new stories. Oh no, that was last issue, but never mind. I'm not digging that out. But yeah, so it's basically nearly a fresh start. So the first cover is by one of my. I used to hate him, but he's got such a really beautiful style now. It's really evolved in his art style. And it's Cliff Robertson, and he's doing the cover for Chimpsky. And then next up, one of the best. This is going to be one of the new modern classics. 2000. I used to do some banger series recently, new series. What have a classic feeling, you know they're going to have a long life, and this is going to be one of them. This is a series about this ancient vampire who they resurrect to face a bigger threat, an alien invasion who's taken over the world. So it's called Silver, and this is by the series artist called Joe Curry. Really nice, almost like European Mobius kind of style to them. And then we have a really cool Just Dread cover by Jake Lynch. Painted style, normally for him, is more like a Cam Kennedy kind of cross-hatchy, inky style. And then a new series, which I'll go into in a bit, we have a cover by, it's not the series artist, unfortunately, and you see what I mean when I come into it, by Simon Davis. It's a cool, fantastic cover, that is. Just a shame. Anyway, we'll come to that. And then another Cliff Robertson Judge Dredd cover. And then there's a new series of Scarlet Traces starts up, and there's a fantastic, Disraeli is Chef's Kiss. Such a great linesman with his art style, got really nice line work. And a really cool Judge Dredd cover by Colin McNeil, who did the classic Judge Dredd strip America. But his art style's really changed how he inks himself now. I really like it. And then there's a cool silver cover, but this time it's done by Clint Langley, who did a lot of Slain and ABC Warriors. And then a very cool dynamic Just Dread cover by Toby Wilsmer. What's good about these as well, if you go on 2000AD.com, I should be sponsored by them. If you go on 2000AD.com, you can actually get A4 or A8, A3, A2 or A4 or A3 prints of the covers without the text on. And then there's a really nice, cool another silver post covered by Joe Curry, again, the series artist, which is fantastic. So that's the covers. Let's go on to the series. So there's a good, I think it's either 3 issue or 4 issue one called Blitzers of Judge Dredd, written by Ken Nyman, art by Dan Cornwell. The art is really good. So it's about this terrorist cell who kind of like went into hibernation. But unlike a lot of, like today's terrorists, these terrorists have the bombs implanted in the bodies. So they've got those bombs with them for life. and they didn't realize it. They've just found out now there's something that's gone wrong with the mechanism. So if they get overstimulated, overexcited, or start panicking, it triggers the bomb. So they're literally walking time bombs. And of course, being Just Dread, it doesn't shy away from showing you the impacts of it. So that was a really cool, tight little crime story. And then there's a fun one called Chimsky's Law about this intelligent ape. Surprisingly, has a lot of intelligent apes in Mega City, with art by PJ Holden. This moved on really nicely from the last issue, had a Just Red story that segued into this, which is a very clever storytelling device. But again, it's quirky, it's fun. He's quite an unusual character, Chimsky. It's becoming one of my favourites now. But yeah, it's a satisfying read. But the series that I want to get into more, they did a series before, and this is the second book, and it's Silver. It's written by Mike Carroll, who's done a lot of Just Dredd strips, and art by Joe Curry, who I think is more like a he is I think he's more like an artist and sculptor normally, so a fine artist. But oh my god, his artwork in this, it's fantastic, and they are bringing out book one in a collected edition. So I do recommend, if you don't buy the comic, picking up the graphic novel because the story is very good. It's got this curious flavour of a Hammer film mashed up with a Romero film, mashed up with the storytelling beats of John Wyndham. So it's got that quirky English sensibility, but with the graphic harshness of a Romero film. And then there's another story called Ghosted, written by Guy Adams, who normally I like, and art by Megan Huang. That's what this cover was advertising. This is what the art is like in it normally. No, it just doesn't work. I like how the idea and the concept behind it's quite clever, I think, but I can't work out what's what. And the art is weird because the story is quite bloodthirsty, but the art is more like a YA young adults graphic novel manga style. So it just it doesn't fit right. So I'd give that story a 5 out of 10. Like, good effort, but I hope it doesn't do a book two. To be honest, I've just not enjoyed it. I don't. They just need something. The script needs tightening up, or a bit more. I don't normally say this, but it needs to explain more. And the new artist, a different artist. But one thing I am enjoying, I'm like how, because of the film coming out, they're expanding the world of Road Trooper. So doing Road Troop strips, and they're also doing like side stories, but featuring other elements of New Earth, of the world that Rogue Trooper inhabits. So this was called New Earth War Tales, and it's by Gordon Rennie and Gary Welsh. And I just thought, oh, this is interesting. It's just dealing with like the criminal underworld of that particular universe. But the final episode, you realise you're in about two characters who, if you're a fan of like Road Trip like I am, you know very well, and it's kind of like their origin story. I was like, genius! It's just genius. So I really enjoyed that. So yeah, there's nothing new. These are just the stories are just carrying on for this. I'll just highlight ones that are new. So with this one, issue 2430, or Prog 2430, and the one before it, there's a new Rogue Trooper story. What I don't like what they started to do now, I love with 2000 AD how they do the credit boxes, but I like that, where you can just read them really clearly. But now they started doing these really small ones, which when you're my age makes it a meh to read. But I do like how they've done this road trip story. There's part one in this one I just forgot, so I'm just going to show you this. And the art by Paul Marshall with the colours by Pippa Boland. It's written by Andy Ewington. It's really, really clever. So it's black and white, but the highlights Road Trooper in blue. And it's a very clever storytelling device. It's quite dynamic. Just a tight little future war story. And yeah, got a lot of fun from it. Silver continues to be going really strong. There's a Future Shock Future Shock's very hit and miss. That one was just mid. It was okay, but nothing to sing home about. And then there's a one shot, and you don't see him writing very often for Judge Dredd or the Judge Dredd story. And it's Dan Abnett with Rob Richardson. One shot, 6-page little crime noir story with a sting in its tail. Quite satisfactory. That's what I love about Judge Dredd, how they can do like these epics that go on for like nearly a year, and then they can just do one and dones in 6 pages, and that's it. So after that, there's another story by Dan Abnett with gorgeous art by Jake Lynch. Again, just a one shot. They tend to do this. They do like a series of one shots, and then I'll have a 3 or 4-parter, and then maybe a long epic down the road. But yeah, another one with a nice thing in its tail. They're just like these mini crime vignettes. What he's been doing, and Road Trooper carrying on. But a new story that does start up, and one of my personal favourites, is Scarlet Traces. So this is Empire of Blood Part 1. So this is like the continuation of World of Worlds. So it's deep in that mythology and that lore. This nice blend of Victoriana, steampunk, all good things like that. But this current storyline has got very much a crime noir flavour to it. So it's quite kind of like a nice twist. That's why I like with this strip how they can jump about in kind of different flavours and feels of storytelling. And then this is, oh, sorry, I just love that cover. And then there's a new Judge Dredd 3-parter that starts called The First 100, again by Dan Abnett. He does really, I mean, he's a great writer, but he does a really tight Judge Dredd story with gorgeous art by Colin McNeil, whose, like I said, whose ink style has developed so much from how he used to do it. He's gone very much the Mignola route of very heavy blacks, but not Mignola. It's still very distinctly his style, and it really works. It's very dynamic, very clean, great for the future setting of Judge Dredd. And I really enjoyed this story. Again, had a really great sting in its tail. I hope we see more stories from Dan Abnett. And then this issue finishes off Silver Book 2 in a really gorgeously illustrated way. I really do recommend hunting out the book when it gets released of Silver. It's a modern classic. And again, just very disappointed with Ghosted. Unnecessary. So that's 2.5 months worth of comics, of progs, and there's just one stinker in the whole bunch, so that's not bad out of the whole series. It's not bad, it's just, to be honest, I think sometimes I'd rather a strip be bad, like with the current Batman storyline. I can't stand it. It's a travesty of a Batman story, but it's so bad you've got to read it because it's like watching a car crash. But this one, it's a non-strip. It's like, but on the whole, 2000 AD still kicking it out of the park. They're doing a fantastic job. I mean, it can't be easy doing a comic strips of this quality week after week after week, not monthly, but week after week. How they keep the same teams on them, it's just a credit to them. When Rebellion took 2000 AD over, they injected so much life into it. They made it such a force to be reckoned with. And yeah, if you're not getting it, I do recommend picking it up or buying it digitally from 2000AD.com. There's a lot you can get via in collected editions. If you'd like me to do like a recommended reading order, not recommended reading order, but recommended format reading experience for 2000 AD, like the best way to read Judge Dredd stories and the other universes of 2000 AD, put a comment in this video afterwards. And I never say this, but I want to, because my viewing figures for my channel have been, it's 8. It fluctuates between 883 and 884. Somebody likes me for a bit and then they hate me, and they like me for a bit and then they hate me. And it's been like that for fucking ages. It's driving me mad. I just want to get to 900. Nothing to do with getting view figures. It's the OCD part of me. I like a nice round number. I'd love to get to 900. If I get to 1,000, I have a giveaway. I've got a really nice deluxe hardback Nemesis book. It was the Eagle strips, what were coloured, and it's collected hardback. You can't get it anymore. and I'm be giving that away if it gets to 1,000 subscribers. So bribery always works. But yeah, please recommend my channel to other people who are into comics. I don't just deal with just like the weekly pull list, as you can tell, because I'm not been for 3 weeks. I like to keep it diverse because my brain's very random anyway. And yeah, so like, subscribe, and give me a shout to other people, and help me. Yeah, so that's it. I'm going to say goodbye because I'm going to be doing another video in a few minutes. So that's why I'm going to be looking the same in each one. Okay, bye.